All right, so on this episode, we're going to be talking about the exterior of the electrical cabinet. So can you guys help me understand what is going on the exterior, front, sides, back of the electrical cabinet?
I guess where to start would be the overall cabinet itself has, depending on customer or depending on the layout, could have as many as up to 6, 8 doors, large doors with small access doors that incorporate access to the breakers and the panels and all the wiring and components that are located inside, along with lockable handles.
And why do those need to be locked?
To keep out unwanted personnel that might want to tinker with what's inside when they're not qualified or they don't know what they're doing. We have all the hazard stickers, who's the cabinet manufactured by. Some other stickers that are on the outside might indicate what is behind the larger door. So if a tech or someone needs help, might come in and look for, like, say, a fueling controls, and we have a sticker on it that would locate him. Instead of opening up every door, he can go right to there and open that door up. So.
Well, we first started out with the design for how big is the cabinet. We came up with 36 inches by 12-inch deep cabinet for the size that would accommodate most of the sub-panels that we can put into them, whether we make the manufacturer be Square D, General Electric, Cutler Hammer, or Siemens. That's how we started with it. We came up with a 36-inch footprint that we could put 4 panels into it so that we could make it fit into a designated area and keep it as space-saving distribution. That's the first thing we came up with. Then by code, you have to be able to lock it, but personnel can be able to get to it to turn breakers on and off. So all the access doors, like Adam was saying, are small openings in the cabinet main door that you can just use a thumb screw or a quarter or a screwdriver, anything to open the door so you can have access into the breakers themselves. And then the cabinet itself is lockable. Actually, all 4 sides are enclosed, so you can't have access into that, and the bottom's always open.
And we do also have in between, if you were to join the cabinets together, they are open as to allow raceways between one cabinet to the other cabinet. In the event underground gets messed up or you have to add circuits, you have that option of being able to run through the cabinets from one end to the other.
Yeah, and sometimes I've seen them labeled like A, B, C, and G. I was asking you earlier about the G. I was like, hey, I think you made a mistake here. I think D comes after C. And they're like, no, buddy.
They're not always in alphabetical order. A lot of it is based off the engineer's drawings, and that designate what that panel is and the loads and the circuits that it has in it. But most of the time, we like to try to keep our fueling panel, which powers the dispensers, fueling controls, some canopy stuff, as GF. But we've had, some customers where it's D, other ones where it's GF. It's all over the board. So we try to keep it consistent, and typically the fueling panel is off, I guess, from alphabetical order.
So we always choose G. When we build them for location in Las Vegas, we always make G. Stands for gas. So 7-Elevens, other places like that like to have the panel F.
FP, we've had FP, fueling panel, that kind of stuff. So it depends. A lot of it comes down to the customer and the engineer as far as what he designates it as.
What was I saying? I forgot where I was. No, the box size and why we came up with the 3 foot and the way the design fits in more stores because of the footage. Trying to save space, trying to keep it down so that we came up with the idea of 3 foot. Our competitors are not as deep and wider, so they take up more of a footprint. We tried to keep it down, as we said, space saver distribution. That's what it is. It saves space. Then we also made it so we can make it any color you want. So if you want it, like yesterday we had a meeting, they said, well, why don't we make it orange? I said, okay. He didn't like that. Because he could have.
Yeah, he could have had orange, but he went with more of a grayish color to kind of match some of the trim and stuff like that. And the other thing is also to touch on the 36 inches in some of our competitors. Our ships split, so it's easier to set and put into place.
Yes.
Sometimes there are times where they split it, but 9 times out of 10, they will have it all put together and you have to set the entire cabinet in one piece versus in 4 sections, 2 sections, 3 sections, however, whatever you ordered, theirs will come in all in one piece, put together, done, you set it on the wall, which makes the install a little bit more difficult.
We've had customers that put their stuff on the second floor and they had to have the cabinet on site before the roof went on. Well, that's so premature, but they didn't have a choice because they couldn't get it any other way up there but a crane. Where with ours, you can carry them up the stairs. And people have. We have.
We have. I've actually done it at one point. Due to delays in manufacturing, had to go up with the 3 other guys, and there was 4 of us, and we took it up the stairs and set
2 flights of stairs.
Yep, and put it in, installed it, walked away. So it can be done by human power.
Barely like taking groceries up 2 levels, let alone a electrical cabinet.
It's not as bad as long as you plan for it.
Yeah,
Work smarter, not harder.
Right, and it works, and because we bolt them together and they become one unit then, and it turns out great. You can see by the pictures or by when you install it how it turns out, and everything matches and is flush.
So back to the color, can you paint the cabinets in-house or does somebody else paint those?
No,
because
typically,
orange seems like a pretty crazy color.
Yeah, we usually have it done by a local powder coating company or the cabinet manufacturer. We may request it to be done a certain color, but more than likely it's going to be done here by a local powder coating company.
And as long as it's a RAL number.
Yeah, RAL. So the cabinet color we have now is a RAL 7035. You can Google it, and you can see how many RAL numbers there are, various colors of the rainbow.
Wow. So the buttons that are on some of these electrical cabinets, what are some of the different ones that people would see, and what do they do?
It could range from lighting overrides to an estop to shut off the fueling, or a reset to also reset the fueling, turn it back on in case after an emergency.
Code states that you have to physically reset the fueling control system. You can't just throw a switch and turn it back on. You have to physically go over and push a button that starts again. So it's called a momentary button.
So where is that button at? So if you hit the e-stop, then what?
The system shuts down entirely. Everything shuts off. Then in order to reset it, now you would have to hit a button again, a momentary button to start it again, to start the system back up, to bring it back onto line. We have customers that have them in hallways, and with the hallways, it's okay if it's only personnel that are traveling down the hallway because the buttons are accessible on the face. So when we have customers that have them by restrooms, things like that, we do not put the buttons on the doors. We put them underneath the front counter. Well, we give them a control box to put underneath the front counter so that they can do their start and stop from there. Code states that for the fueling system, you can't be any closer than 20 feet for an emergency shutoff, but no further than 100 feet. So someone can actually run 100 feet to shut it off, or 20 feet, however close they have to have it. That's code by the NEC, or actually fire code too.
Yeah. NFPA.
Yep.
Yeah, and we do have remote buttons that we give our customers as like in a back room situation, and they'll mount the lighting overrides and that control, cashier control as we call it, where they deem fit for that particular store. So it could be in the back room, it could be at the counter, like Jerry said, or it could be in a manager's office. It's up to them.
And then we also have lights. We have a customer that requires that we put lights in the front of the panel so that they can see when the turbines are running, when the lights are on. So instead of looking outside to see if the lights are on, they actually can look on the door and see a light that says, okay, my lights are on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So they can override it from there, not have to look outside. Or if it's in an office, they don't have to walk outside to get to it. So they can see that override. And it has an override timer on it, some of them, it's built into the system in all of them. But they do have an override timer where you can push the button, lights turn on for 90 minutes. So that you can do maintenance work, so you can do all the things that you have to do that you can't during the daytime because there's the photocells. It has everything shut off. It's an override. And then you push the button again and it'll actually shut it off.
Shut it off.
So,
And is there anything on top of the cabinets?
Not that we would supply, but I mean, the customer can mount stuff above there. Some people come in overhead with conduits. Other people will mount turbine controls, low voltage controls. They'll mount gutters up there. That's kind of out of our, I guess, realm of what we supply. They basically will get, it's a solid top, and then they take it from there.
So do you do the cabinet that's outside as well? Because I was at one of your job sites and there was one main electrical cabinet outside that looked like was feeding the one that was inside the store or the gas station.
Yeah, that would be the switchgear or the main power source to the building.
or they call it MDP,
Yeah.
main distribution panel,
Okay.
that supplies the power to our cabinet. So it comes usually underground. We encourage that. You can go overhead or you can go through the back. It brings it into the panel underground. MDP, so all your main breakers, so panel P or panel A or panel C are all labeled outside in that main distribution to which panel it reflects and controls inside. And that's called the MDP.
Yeah.
Or
MSA, MSB, main switchboard, main switch apparatus, MS, main switch. It's got various titles, as you say, but once again, it goes back to following the plans of the engineer and how he labels it is what it comes down to.
And I'm sure some of these cabinets vary a little bit. And if you're just seeing this for the first time and somebody didn't walk you through what to do, what's the best way to troubleshoot or figure out? Because there's people that work at the gas station, maybe, at the front counter, a cashier needs to access it or something like that. What is the best way to go about that, learning more?
Well, I guess probably the best thing to do would be to find us, get our contact information, and give us a call. That is part of what we do as far as information. We want to make sure that the customer fully understands what they're getting and also realize that we're not going anywhere. It could be 2-3 years from now, they give us a call and we will still pick up that phone and still help them and troubleshoot. I mean, to this day, we still talk to people that are 2 years ago, we sent customers cabinets and they call, hey, I'm just having some problems with something. And, we'll take that call and make sure they get taken care of.
Because I'm sure it's extremely intimidating to somebody that's never done anything with a cabinet before.
it's always intimidating.
It always is.
They always look at it and think that they're overwhelmed at first until they realize how simple it really is and basic. And once they realize the capability of the cabinet, because the cabinet is open, once you open the main door, everything's there. You're supposed to, by code, follow panel A is supposed to go to panel A. All the circuits and all the wiring is supposed to go to panel A. It's supposed to stay within the same realm of that to go to that panel. But because it's a UL-listed device, if they pull in a conduit that's below panel A, but they actually want to be in panel C, all they got to do is pull it over there. And the code allows that. So they can do that. So it makes it more versatile. And once you understand how flexible it really is, once you open the door and can really understand it, people love it. I fought it when I first put one in, because we're not the originators. The originator, I did put in one of the original boxes, and I fought it tooth and nail because I thought this was going to be the worst thing in the world. Then when it saved so much time and I got my employees' time back so I could have them do other things, I was sold. Just have to think with an open mind.
Right. You guys think of anything else that people need to know in terms of the exterior of the cabinet?
That it's metal.
Yeah, it's metal.
So you can put magnets on it?
Yeah, it can scratch easily. The other thing is, and always keep this in mind, if it ships and it gets damaged for any means, please reach out to us, because of the fact that we don't want you to not like it or, this door's crap, it doesn't work because it's broken. Just let us know. We'll get it replaced for you.
Or
we'll take care of it or get it fixed one way or the other.
Yeah, I was going to say, if somebody, scratches it real bad and they, want it painted or they want a new door or something, do they contact you for that?
Yeah. You give us a call. Yeah.
Yeah, we can work out the details, find somebody. Because it's a powder coating and not painted, You can't just put paint on it. You can sand it and do all of that, but it doesn't blend right because powder coating and paint are two different types of process. So it will never blend and look right. But we can always find a powder coater in the area that can take care of it, or we can send out a new panel.
Yeah, new door.
New door, covers.
There's little things. Yeah, there's little things you can do. You can touch it up.
Yes.
For little scratches, we do have spray paint that can be touched up. But of course, when you get to the bigger items, it's just not worth it.
Right.
Just to redo it.
Once you realize how easy it is to set, once you lay out your underground, for the electrician that's doing it, you have to lay the underground out right. Once you lay the underground out right and you get it to fit, that is so much easier. Once you set it down, you're ready to pull the main feeders, you can get a one line for your meter tag.
And also keep in mind, if for some reason the underground doesn't come out right, please give us a call and we'll figure out a solution to make sure it fits. And that does happen. Things happen on the jobs. Conduits get moved during concrete pours, and they get outside the dimensions of where they need to be. But just please give us a call. We'll take care of it and help you what we can to make sure the cabinet still stays UL listed.
I've been installing these cabinets since 1997. Okay, and we still make mistakes. We just made one the other day. We're off by 4 inches. And so we have to come up with a piece that fits in the middle, which is simple. We can still do it. It just means the cabinets, instead of being 6 foot, it's 6'4".
So was that caught here or in the field?
In the field.
In the field.
So what happened? Did you have to go get it and bring it back here, or did the customer have to send it here?
Well, in this case, we are installing it ourselves. So we brought it back to the shop so it wouldn't sit out there. But normally we'd leave it in the field. We'd have them set one side and continue to work. And then we'd make the pieces for them to fit in between the two cabinets. And then they can set the other side and then continue. So that's the other nice thing, is that because it's modular, you can still continue to work on one side or the other. You don't have to stop the job. It just keeps flowing.
Yeah, and speaking of the modular, that also is a benefit for the fact that for some reason, if they get the underground off and it's mirrored to what the design is, you can just take that cabinet, take a side off and move it down to the other end and flip-flop, move stuff around. So it's not set into place where you have to unbolt everything. You can just slide it into the next one and move it around. It's kind of like Jenga. Slide it in, slide it around, make it fit.
We've had that happen in the field.
Yes.
Customers have piped it backwards.
Yep.
And so we told them, no, just pull that cabinet out and put it here,
right
and
there.
put that cabinet over there, and you're done. And it did work.
Yep. It did.
Easily, because it's modular. Because everything's laid out in 36-inch increments.
Very good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today. If you enjoyed the show and want to be notified when new episodes get released, please subscribe to our show on your favorite listening app. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Click on the links in the show notes below. Also, your feedback would mean the world to us. Help our listeners in our trade find us by giving us 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcast or your favorite listening app. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.